Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the slight delay. I woke up really early this morning, but for some reason it was suddenly 10 a.m. and I hadn't done absolutely nothing prep for this stream, so go me. Today we're going to be... What are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing a portrait demo. I don't know if you can... No, you can't because I've changed the camera. Haha, I'm so smart. So what we're going to be doing today, by the way, hi, I hope you're all alright. Sorry for this kind of like scrambly, rambly moment. Yeah, we're going to be doing a painting demo, and I have the reference picture there. Might edit this later and show it on the screen, or I will show it to you later at the end of the stream. Let me move this so I can actually see the chat. Hi Matt, good morning. So yeah, let's start real quick, and we're going to be doing it a la prima, so you know, let's aim for an hour. I'm using a B Royal Graphite pencil. I could be using anything really, because we're gonna be covering this in, actually no, I don't want to use a B, I want to use something that's sharper. Do I have something sharper? Yes, I do. Yeah, I will. So, change of plans, I'm going to be using a 5H pencil, and what we want to do is like a very, very kind of like quickly block our shapes, making sure that, you know, we are leaving ourselves enough space for the face and for all like the important details. Yeah, so how has your week been? I hope you all are alright. My week has been both uneventful and very, very tiresome. I've launched a portrait service, hence the portrait demo today. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link down below. Please feel free to share with your friends, family, etc., etc. Yeah, that was fun. Let's see how it works. You know, I don't know which Facebook group I was in, and I decided to post one of like my old portraits, and it got to like 60 likes, which is unheard of for me. Really, really quick, and I thought, you know, maybe we should do something about this. What do you think? So yeah, as usual, I went ahead and did it. Hola, duende. Yeah, thank you. It's just, I honestly, I've been editing some video for memes this morning, and I was just wrapping up one of the like the last one of the batch before I sent it for sign off, and it was just, oh no, this eye is way too low, isn't it? And it was just like, oh my god, where is my morning? Where has it gone? So I was like essentially gobbling down my breakfast, and yeah, I mean, you know, I'm here for that chaotic Gemini energy, I suppose. How has your week been with the solstice and everything? Have you guys done anything to celebrate or anything like that? So now that I have like my very... Oh shit, I should adjust this. Let me... That should be better. Oh, thank you. Say hi to Ali, by the way. So yeah, I hope that you can actually see the face now. I really need to get myself like a better camera setup. But yeah, so essentially, now that we have this kind of like very rough lines, we're going to go in for the kill and start shaping this puppy up. So I usually like to start with the eye. Would you please stop getting in the way? Thank you. So yeah, we're gonna start with this eye area here. and I mainly just want to like capture the big shapes, the big geometry, which is what's going to make or break how realistic your portrait looks. And also because this will allow you to like measure really, really well, in my opinion, in my unprofessionally professional opinion. Yeah. Also because I think this allows you to capture your, like, the mood of the subject relatively easily, and you can make corrections very quickly. Since we are using graphite, you can go on with an eraser. I tend not to use an eraser because this is a quick exercise, so you're not really supposed to be using one. And B, there's no point unless I really need to correct something. This is going to be covered with paint. So the idea here is to create lines that can guide you later, independently of, like, if my line is clear enough, if I think that I will be able to understand later. So this is essentially what I'm doing here, is I'm giving myself instructions to follow later when it comes to the shapes, etc. And I'm exploring the shapes so that I can better understand them. So when I was a younger artist because now I'm so old, right? I used to. It's I think we go through phases in our life, especially when we're younger, when we kind of like this all the prep steps, because I can do it without that. That's really not necessary. And I think this is something that happens when you're approaching in like a new discipline, especially you look at things and you look at like the outside shape of things, right? And you're like, oh hell yeah, I can do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Of course you can do it. Practice makes perfect, and the only thing that's separating you and Renoir, or you and Van Gogh, or you and Gentileschi is the fact that they've spent a certain amount of hours and they had the circumstances to be able to do so, doing a certain thing, and they did it very, very well. It's not that they were born into a like specific style, whatever. Hard work, time and effort is usually all it takes, and of course the conditions to be able to put in that time and effort. So there's nothing wrong with a can-do attitude, but I think that, at least for me, it came with a healthy dose of disrespect for the foundation, for like the foundational habits, or the foundational, I think the foundational habits and the foundational techniques. So if I see this shape and I can draw this shape more or less right on paper, why would I bother spending more time constructing it, right? Like, what's the point? So I think that is a very common attitude, and I think that you're missing when you function like that in any kind of hobby or activity, or in particular when it comes to drawing, painting and art. You're sort of like missing out. You're missing out not only on like the possibility to use this kind of like foundational stages to better understand the figure. So you're missing out on these like lessons that you could be essentially teaching yourself. But you're also missing out on like some very basic shapes that you will need in order to construct what you want to draw, and thus your drawings, your art, if you want your art to be realistic, and even if you don't, I think if you're gonna draw people, for example, everyone, no matter how cartoony you want to draw them, benefits from live painting lessons, because they will teach you so much, and you will learn so much, and then you will know what features to exaggerate, how the body moves, etc., etc. So yeah, don't cheat yourselves out of the prep stage. This prep stage is not only giving myself instructions on what to paint and how to paint it in 5 minutes when I go in with the oils, but it's also functioning for me as a face as an anatomy in lesson in face anatomy. And why would I want to miss on that? You know, why would I want to miss on this opportunity to understand the different planes of the face, the how they bring character to a face, how do they work together? So yeah, that's my advice. I know that taking a shortcut, it's nice, and I do that a lot. But take the opportunity and kind of like try building things from the ground up, because you'll learn more. That's just it, really. So yeah, as you can see, we have kind of like rough sort of like understanding of face now. And I want to just very quickly add some character to the hair, and now that we have that, I want to indicate it is kind of like shadow here in the neck. No, don't you go away. Let's something that I never do, but I'm trying to get better at. It's sketching in the ear, because usually the ears in my portraits, whenever they are seen, they tend to be slightly messy because I leave them for the last thing, really. So I'm trying to get better on that and sketch my ears in. Don't be lazy. Ears are important. So, you know, if I can sketch my ears, you can sketch your ears. You can do the thing that you don't particularly have a keen interest on, but that you know will complete your work much more nicely. And also another thing that I think it's very interesting when it comes to drawing is try and draw what you see and not what you think you see. So for example, I tend to draw ears very like that, and this girl has a more pointy ear. So, you know, I'm trying to correct that, because at the first instance when I was doing this sketch, I did my ear or the ear that I see in my mind. But that's not the ear that she has. So okay, cool. I'm gonna clean up these lines a little, especially the ones around the earring, and we're gonna go in with some paint. Now I'm going to use this really old flat brush for this, and what I'm going to do, well, the first thing I'm going to do is actually put my palette near me. I have a few different sets of oil paints, and oh, thank you, Pam. Glad you agree. So what I do is the cheap oils that I have, I will often use as bases for my alla prima paintings, and this is what we're going to use today. I have this extremely cheap, and I think you can see it just because the texture, especially when you'll see it when I slather it on. But I use this as a base so that all my paint essentially like flows together. So I'm just and as you can see, this brush has absolutely no fucking flexibility, and that's because I ruined it. Because I'm a very messy painter, and sometimes I forget that I am supposed to clean stuff, you know? Happens to the best of us. Anyway, this is a lesson for you. Do not leave your brushes to be cleaned tomorrow. You will never clean them, and they will be dry, and you will have to throw them away, or insist on using them, but suffering terrible pains along the way. So this may look cream instead of white, but that's because it's not dry yet, and also because it's such a low quality white pigment. that it's not exactly white, but we don't care. All that we want really is like a primed surface so that our oils will be able to glide during the next hour or so. Oops. Cool, so we have her primed and sort of ready. So let's go for it. Let's see. I'm gonna be using my trusty old musty square brush. Hope you can see this. This is a very, very old brush that I have. I love it. I refuse to change it for anything. And let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to start with the shadows. So what I want to do is I'm going to take some of my blue, some of my aubergine color, I think we could call it, a little bit of my Napoleon yellow, I think it's called, and a little bit of my linseed oil. We're using linseed oil today because I couldn't get my a little bit of brown sienna. We are using linseed oil today because I couldn't get the varnish open because I'm just a girl, you know. No, but that it really pisses me off. It's one of those, and we're gonna take just a little bit of this because I don't want to stop myself from actually being able to see what's beneath. Yeah, it's one of those anti-kits, or not anti-kits, but you know, the kind of seals that they put in so that the kids won't be able to open the fucking bottles. It's one of those, and I hate it with all my power and passion. Because I'm not a kid and I'm not able to open it either, so it's very upsetting. So as you can see, essentially what I'm doing here, it's very, 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 very quickly giving some tone to the study. You know, man, I wish I had this brush in a slightly bigger size. And you know, so much of what makes an artist's kind of like way of painting, it's the tools that you use. And I think this is a prime example because a lot of like the ragged texture in my portraits and in my arts comes from the fact that I refuse to use any other brush except this one to start any painting, no matter the size, which is not a very practical approach on my side, I will be quite honest with you. You know, the hard ones with the hard ones. What are you going to do? So let's do the ear. And some of that too. And I want to do this little eye and some of that there. And you know, try and connect ear shapes. Try and, especially at the beginning of painting a picture, when you're kind of like just laying things on top of things, try and make sure that your shapes stay connected as much as you can. So, since this is an alla prima portrait and I want to be done with it quickly, what I'm doing color-wise is, instead of my usual practice, which is just to incorporate the primary colors directly on a painting. What I'm doing is I'm actually incorporating them in the colors that I use here, and this will produce a slightly different effect, but it will also allow me to proceed more quickly. So yeah, that's why we're doing things the way we're doing things. So as you can see, I continue to connect the shapes and all that fun stuff. Let's do that there, a little bit of this here. And let's kind of like round up the ear. Yeah, it should do. Give a little bit more contour to the eye. Make sure that you have an indication of a shape here. Wondering about the hair. I'll probably do that later with the eyes or something. As usual, I'm using top and tine to clean my brush. And what I want to do now is I'm gonna kind of like try and see. She has a very rosy undertone, so I'll probably want to use a little bit more blue in my shadows just to give it a little bit more of an interest. There's a lot of green around the mouth area in human beings, so we want to do a little bit of that as well. So yeah, let's go for it. Now that I have a nice kind of like base, I'm going to take a little bit more of that blue and take a little bit more of that red. And a bit of linseed oil, and don't do that, and apply it to where I feel, the shadows would be well served with a little bit more punch, if you know what I mean. I'm taking also the opportunity to just use this to mark the eyebrows with a little bit more clarity. And of course the ear, never forget the ear. That should be my new campaign, don't forget the ear. Poor sad ear. And you also want to start to look for the halftones. The halftone is kind of like, when you're looking at a shadow and a bit of the shadow right before the shadow starts getting lighter seems to be slightly darker in a slightly different tonal spectrum. That's your halftone, and if you manage to find it, all your shading, all your stuff, to look much more realistic. Let's give that a little bit of a. Let's do that in the eyes too. We'll go back there later and make it slightly prettier. Right now I'm just laying the colors and trying to find my halftones, my textures, all that fun stuff. Yeah. And of course, your halftones are not just placed willy-nilly. Your halftones will, most of the time, when you're painting people, respond to where your bones are, where your tendons are, where your muscles are. So you want to make sure that you have as good as an understanding of anatomy as you possibly can. in order to do that. So let's do the same thing with our green. And we're gonna do this around the mouth. Just so that we can blend it later. Take advantage of these shadows to shape the area, and it probably even kind of like goes well onto this side. There's also a fair bit of this around the eyes. This is because of the amount of veins in the skin. So when you have a rose olive undertone, you have a skin with a rose undertone. I often see like there's a lot of green here, especially in the shadows and stuff. What else do you have? Oh, you have a little bit of green here, don't you? And perhaps you have a little bit of green here too. Interesting. And this is... Oh, how about an afro? Well, the model doesn't have one. I believe it's more like a pixie cut. But we'll see what we give her later. So yeah, what was I saying? Let's do a little bit of red. Here. Not that she has an immense amount of red, but I like it. I like red. I think we're gonna do red around the nose too, because that's just too cute. Yeah. What are we gonna do next? I guess we should take care of this. Yeah, I think this will probably work, sort of. Let's prepare the highlights. So on the neck, you see this lovely lady has some, which I believe it's probably her skin color. She has this very nice olive, I guess you could say Mediterranean or something, skin color, which she has in some of her highlights here and there, and just before the like purest white studio light highlights. There's a fair bit of that. So that's what we're putting there. Yeah, and then we're gonna use just some more white. I don't want to do pure white, even though that's what I'm seeing in the picture, because A, it's never pure white, and B, I always have time to brighten colors later. But it's not like it's easier to brighten it up and to see volume and shape and texture developing that way than it is if you start, at least I find in my experience, with a very light color. Alright, what are we going to do with these lips? With these lips we are going to find a nice neutral rosy brown within our palette and find a lighter rosy brown and use them together. Yeah, that works. Oops, I forgot to give you a highlight in the eye, didn't I? There you go. And now we can just go back to our dark pupils and yeah, maybe use some of that for our dark brows. And we are gonna need some of this here. Okay, so this is what we have so far, and as you can see, oh, thank you, Pam. I think the styling anatomy is really important if you want to do anything like realistic or with people around it. But anyway, I think we're done with our intro brush, and what I'm going to do now is, I think this one. Dude, I can never clean my fucking brushes right, can I? Okay, so we're going to be using, no, I definitely can't. We're going to be using this, which is a pointy, can you see it? Yes. It's very pointy brush, but it has like a really nice opening. So what we're gonna be doing now is we're going to start from the eye probably again and try and refine what we have done so far. So before we do that, we're actually gonna remix some of our colors. So and let's go for it. Maybe we will use two brushes. This is a technique that I like to use when I'm doing, in order to work like fast. So I'm going to mix my light color too. Okay, cool. So we're going to start with this bit and maybe refine the nose a little bit, because that's just not true, is it? So in general, just kind of like pick an area where you can use like a good amount of the color that you just mixed, and yeah, go for it. And like, there's no need to be shy at this point. You've laid down your colors, you have your the work that you did before to guide you, so it's gonna be absolutely fine. Just keep telling yourself that and you'll be fine. And you know, at this stage I usually go back to my habit of mixing in colors directly from the palette. I find this is my preferred method to do most things in painting and probably in life too. I just find it quicker, so you know, whether I need a highlight or if I just need a tone, I just pick it up from palette and slap it on there. And you have to be careful not to, like, you probably only want, you know, just that bit. So yeah, I think we're gonna be quite bold with her the eyebrows. So I'm just putting ultramarine blue here, by the way. But see how it looks with the rest. There's this beautiful thing about painting and about like you just creating colors and how color theory works and how they mix together, and I just think that's wonderful. And I need a little bit of this very cheap white here, not because I want to use this very cheap white, but because what I want is to be able to introduce this slight, very slight bit of ultramarine blue into the eyeball. Because again, I can always go back with my proper white and look for the highlight. And then of course I can always go back with absolute ultramarine blue for the pupil, iris, etc. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that though. That's better. So yeah, and this is kind of like a first wash, so we'll probably, I'll have another round with that later, but now it's time for us to move on somewhere else in the face. And we're going to move on to the nose. So yeah, just kind of like come here and blend a little. And again, this needs a little bit of that deeper shadow here. So I'll pick something up, I dry my brush, and then I use that same brush to blend. And little by little, that's how you kind of like get the nice details right. You know, the shadows, how you give kind of like character and interest, I think, to a portrait. I'm gonna mix in some of my red with some of my ultramarine blue to attack this bit, and I'm going to give myself that color here and there wherever I deem for that color to be appropriate. And I need, it's a shame that I can show you the image. Maybe I will do a tutorial on this soon, and that way I can actually show you, because what we need right now, why am I doing this with this brush? What we need now is a little bit of orange, right? Because skin is translucent, you see. So usually in the areas that are receiving the light, you will often get this little bit of orange, and oh my god, that's gonna give so much life to your portrait. Actually, I want a little bit of that here too. So yeah, off we go. Cool. So I'm just gonna go for it, shall I? Yeah, we want a little bit of this right here. And we probably want some of this right under the eye, and yeah, that's nice. And where else? Maybe, no, don't you go anywhere. Maybe a little bit here. But then what we need is some of this here and here, and we blend it so that we have, you know, the ever slightest indication of a light color. Just pick it up and slap it on. Yeah, I can make t-shirts with that. And again, a little bit more just to brighten it up. And at this point, because this is a La Prima portrait, and you know how much I love this technique, you're essentially making a mass with the colors, which allows you to mix, you know, so many hands. So it really allows you to work the color, and that's what I really love, to be honest with you. That's what I really love about this. Again, this is going to need some of that very lovely ultramarine blue with our red. We're gonna need a little bit of that here, a little bit of that here, and a little bit of that here, and make sure that you keep your crisp lines crisp wherever you want them to be crisp. Like, you know, this is a human being, absolutely, but we also have crisp lines here and there. Which of course everyone does, you know, around the eyes, like the waterline and all those things, but we have crisp lines in other places too. For example, this one here, I don't want that to disappear. And I want them to be slightly crisper. So there we go. I think this requires oops. Just blend it in. Pretend that never happened. No one will know. Yeah, cool. Let's keep going, guys. I think this is going to be an hour and a half, at least, just an FYI, in case you want to leave and come back later. And you know, one thing that has taken me ages to learn, and I think I'm still learning it today, to nowadays, to be quite honest with you, is do not be afraid of the shadows. Do not be afraid of your shadows. No, but like, don't be afraid of painting dark things. It will only give more character and more volume to what you're doing. So here, for example, we're going to just, pick it up and slap it on. And you may think, oh my god, no, you're destroying all that beautiful work. It'll come through. We'll get that, guys. This is all, we are in the business of building faces, you see. So it's all good. So let's see. We are going to be needing some of that blue here. And also, you know, your shadows, they are not just a shadow. They have shadows within them. They have tones. They have character. They you know, there's plenty of things that you can do with a shadow. So what I'm going to be doing now is, remember that green. I think that green belongs around here, and probably around here too. So And now we're gonna pick up something a little bit lighter. Here. And here. And you can see very slowly how we're building this shadow. I hope that you can see it at least. How we are shaping it, how we are very kind of like kindly and briefly indicating to our eye where the most deep, the most shallow points are. Where does our eye need to go to find those bits? We're doing all that, and we're doing it by adding our colors here, our colors there, and by not being afraid of, you know, oh my god, this is so dark, what am I going to do with this plaster of darkness in the middle of this lovely girl's face. I wanted this to be lighter. Not that light. Yes, and I want a little bit of that. I'm just going to introduce. No, I need a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to introduce. She has this little bit of a very. It's really not that light, but we need to be able to indicate that ever so slightly, you know. And I need this to be slightly dark. Ah, there we go. That nice rose that you get on the cheeks. And a little bit of dark. And as you can see, I'm pretty much, we have a saying in Spanish, mariposear, which means flying like a butterfly, essentially. And that's what I'm doing. I am going from one bit of the portrait to the next, looking to interpret this likeness in a way that better suits me, really. Okay, we are going to need something darker there, don't we? We're going to need something like that. And we're going to need some of that very nice, where are you? Very nice green to cut through that. Ah, there we go. And now we have that bit here. Yeah, a little bit like, I suppose. In a way, you could say that. And again, remember to bring in your lights where you need them and when you need them. that works for me. What are we gonna do next? So what we need right now is a little bit of this really nice dark color, but we need it to be slightly lighter. So we're gonna take it a little bit of this somewhere else in the palette, and we're going to mix it with white, go back and forth. What do we think of this? Will this work? Yeah, that works. And we're gonna use that for her nose. We'll take care of the nose, the nostril hole later. And we want a little bit of that nice, deep aubergine color that we've been mixing. Because she has a nice shadow here. And also the shadow over here, it's much deeper than anywhere else on the nose, so we want to be able to reflect that. And yeah, a little bit around here. You know, you very carefully and again lovingly construct these shapes here and there. You bring in your lights when you need your lights. You mix in with your base colors when you need them. And you look for those depths, those bits of darker color that I'm going to indicate to your eye where the facial features are. And maybe you need to interrupt that a little with some light. Maybe you need to bring your darkness a little bit more to the left or a little bit more to the right. And we're going to use that very nice aubergine color for the nostrils again. And for the other bit of the nose maybe too. And now what we can finally do, now that we have our nostril placed, is you'll see that the nose looks a little bit weird right now. Well, maybe you don't see it, but I see it. So what we're going to be doing now is just with a little bit of white, I want to give usually around your nostril you have like it's not a rim light, but it's almost a rim light. So hopefully that will, on top of like refining the nostril shape, oh yeah, And you know, again, you may need to correct what you're doing here and there, and that's all good. We may need some of that very interesting and lovely orange that kind of like lets us know that the skin is translucent. You know, just a little bit of that. Maybe here too. Definitely here. So, you know, with love, care, and a bit of patience, anyone can paint a portrait. If I can do it, you can do it. Maybe we'll introduce some of that pure blue. Just for kicks, you know? Maybe I need a detail brush for this in order to stop suffering. And maybe we need to blend this a little bit. Yeah, I think that will do for now. I would like this to have a little bit more volume. And there we go. I'm gonna try and finish the dark bit before we go on to the light, which should hopefully bring together the face, especially once we can clean up those little bits here and there. So, a little bit of blue here, a little bit of blue there. You know the drill. Yeah, that works. I want a transitional, bit of a transitional shade. So there we go. You know, the more you look at a photograph, and of course this is like 10 times better if you actually have a live model, but the more you look at a photograph, the more you look at a person, the more that you can see where the tones and the shades, you know, you can almost discover where they are, things that you may not have noticed the first time you looked. And at the end of the day, really that's what a portrait is, no matter whether you're painting the queen or doing a quick study. It's a discovery of someone's skin, of someone's features. So just keep swimming. You'll get there. Okay, we want a little bit more of a transitional shade over here. And you see, we want a little bit of this transitional shade with some more white all over here. Because this may still be in a slight shadow, but it's much much lighter. So we want to be able to indicate that a little bit. Yeah. Yes, and we do have a little bit of shadow here too. And oh, very interesting. We have a little bit of shadow there, but it's very, very, very blue. And that gives us, you know, a nice contour of her face. Okay, people, we're getting there. Because this is closer to the hair, it will get much bluer. Yeah, I think we need a little bit more blue here. Cool. So we're gonna do the mouth and then finish the neck very quickly, do the hair thing. Ooh, the ear, we mustn't forget the ear. Yeah, sorry, I always calculate how long these things take me when I'm doing them on my own, but of course when you're explaining things that takes, 3 times as long. By the way, I have excellent news. After the stream is done, I'm gonna go buy my Pop Ross parody outfit. So, good news for you all. You're gonna be able to enjoy that in your screens sooner. I won't say super soon, but sooner rather than later. And hope that I'm not lying through my teeth. So again, the ears will have a fair amount of red in them, so you want to make sure that when you're mixing that, you recognize the fact. So here I'm using ultramarine blue and some sienna and some red and a little bit of something else which I do not remember what I just used. Go me. And yeah, we are essentially just building on top of what we did before, making sure that we are giving those ears the lights and the shadows and the treatment they deserve. Don't forget your ears, guys. Don't forget to clean them. Don't forget to paint them. Give your ears some love. And now we're gonna go in with a lighter color and hope for the best, really. Remember that if your paints are not running to the consistency that you consider appropriate or that would make you happy, add a little bit of your solvent. That usually takes care of most of my issues anyway. We are going to need some green later on this ear. It's too rosy. Oh yeah, that's better. Especially, oh yeah, that's much nicer. And what we're gonna need now is a little bit more red for this video. And now a little bit more of this light color. I said light color, not dark color. Yeah, I mean, she's not perfect, but that's me. Okay, people. Boob Rose lives. She shall live on. Shall we take care of that mouth really quickly? Oh, we should also. There we go. Yeah, I think the mouth is really asking for it. Please shut up. Not you, dear phone. Okay, so first and foremost, let's do something with those teeth. Give ourselves a nice dark base color, and then let's give ourselves a nice contrasting line. And now using that same color, I want to mix it, just the bit that was left on my brush, with a little bit of red. Maybe a bit more red. And I know that this doesn't look like much now, but to just wait. We're gonna again use a little bit more of that really nice dark color and kind of like make sure that we're blending it properly. We probably want to use just, you know, in the most briefest, lightest way. We want to highlight around her lip, just the contour, and just a little bit. That needs a little bit of highlight too. There we go. Sorry, I got momentarily distracted. We are going to continue building the volume, and at this point you don't want to be thinking about the little lip lines or like the the lights, the little light bits. You want to be thinking about the whole of the lip as a unit. So we're going to be adding a little bit of white and a little bit of red. A little more white. To our mixture to start putting in those volumes properly. And we're gonna go back to our previous mix and just make sure that there is enough of that darkness to go around. Yeah. And I would say now we are almost ready to highlight. Maybe a little bit more of that red here. And now, because this is almost pure white, you just, as always, carefully and lovingly, and with a little bit more white, construct the highlight. And using a little bit of that white, just the little bit, you're going to do the, just the indication of the teeth. And if you need to, just refine that with a little bit more of that lovely dark color that we got in the beginning. And that's mouth. When did you decide that you were not going to show? There we go. Okay, so we're gonna finish the neck and then we're gonna finish the eye. We're gonna do something real quick for the hair and we'll be done. Cool. So for the neck, I'm gonna take this color that we were using for the lip and I'm just gonna, there we go. Just use it wherever you see fit, really. And again, don't be afraid of using dark colors. This is going to bring a lot of life, a lot of realism, a lot of rhythm to your figures, to your portraits, sorry. I've been doing figure drawing all week, can you tell? So essentially just go for it. Let's do a little bit more. Oh, there we go, that's nicer. And you know, I essentially use my brushes like I use my pencils to just sort of like feel your way around the painting and around the shapes. Try and make sure that, you know, things are flowing, that they make sense, that they, yeah, that you're making your decisions informed by all the knowledge that you've gathered during the previous phases. So let's start with that nice transitional shade on the highlight. I'm actually just applying right now because I want to get this done relatively quickly because we are already over time. I'm just adding the colors where I feel I need them and just blending them in, and then we're gonna go in with that nice transitional shade, and that's gonna make it look banging. Okay, let's go for that nice transitional shade. By the way, at this point the nice transitional shade is most of my palette just being mixed with one another, so you know, the more you know. You see, Armolda doesn't have this like a highlight as huge as I painted her here, but I think that kind of like brings, it helps with the flow, you know. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her a half tone here. And we need a little bit of green and a little bit of white for And again, this needs a little bit of darkness. And, you know, I'm not particularly worried about the neck. I just want to make sure, on the back, I just want to make sure that they make sense and they don't distract from the face, you know. So let's mix a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Again, there we go. Nope. That little bit of yellow there is gonna make a huge difference. I might have to bring it down later a little bit, but you know. Okay, that's almost done. I know, it's a fucking auto shop near me. I think this is some kind of like test that they do or something. I don't know, man. They are very noisy. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing now is, let's finish the rest of the neck. I'm gonna grab our nice transitional shade. I'm gonna copyright that one. And just make sure that everything's nice, blended, that it sort of like kind of makes sense, and then we're going to correct the bits that do not make sense. So, you know, we're gonna work over this, but right now, as you can see, what you want with this kind of neck is you want to make sure that the torsion, the pull, the gesture is there, and that you can see it and play with it. You know, it's just because you're drawing some creases or something, that doesn't mean that you're actually showing what kind of like shapes and what the shapes and the volumes are doing. You really want to make sure that you're going all the way to show that torsion. Again, nice transitional shade trademark. A little bit of the darker shade. To ever so slightly indicate how that neck is tensioning. We're gonna have a little bit of that nice orange. I want some more of that. Here. Anywhere else? Yeah, maybe here. Okay. And we need some of, there we go. And now we're gonna go for the highlights, which hopefully should finish this up nicely. Study where you're going to put your highlights as meticulously as possible, because they really do make it or break it, you know? I want some more of that nice aubergine. Here. There. We're almost done with the neck. I think that what I want to do is first of all, after study that more carefully. That's better. And now what we want to do is we want to properly highlight that. So okay, and let's go in for the kill with the eye. Oops. So for this eye, what are we gonna do? First of all, we want that eye color base, which we're going to create with our blue, a little bit of our red, and a lot of our white. So and now what we do is essentially we pick up white and we create a gradient. A little bit more white, shall we? And we are going to make sure that we are getting in the nitty-gritty detail of with a nice rosy color in the middle. And that this is properly blended, because this is not a super harsh line. That we may want a little bit more contrast there. And now we are going to place the eye, and then we're gonna do a little bit of, you know, eyelashes and stuff. So last time we used the blue, but I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of black this time. And a little bit of red. A little bit more red. And so I'm going to pick a little bit of this and just use it to line the eye, essentially. And always make sure that you sort of like, ooh, that's too much. Smoke these things, you know, don't just leave them there. You don't usually, I mean, maybe you do, but you don't usually have like a sheer, pure black line around your eye, unless you've painted it on. Which, you know, fair enough. I like wearing makeup. And now we can just add some indication of eyelashes and add a little bit of detail there. God. So what we're gonna do now is, again, just plaster a little bit of that dark blue there. A little bit more on the brow, same here. And you probably want to add highlight of some kind. And you will also want to add the remaining highlights to the rest of the face, probably. Oh, we need to work a little bit on that bit. A little bit on that bit. Wow, language. Oh no, I've lost my transitional shade. When you're as messy a painter as I am, you lose your shades an awful lot. Okay, let's very quickly fix that bit of the nose. Do the Earrings, that's the word. Oh, shameless plug. Yeah, I'll leave the link down below, but I've just inaugurated, opened up. I have an Etsy store now, pomegranate portraits, because we love pomegranates here. So please do feel free to check it out. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Or you can just go to pomegranateportraits.myportfolio.com to check some of these things out. Okay, let's do the hair, and then we will do the earrings. And again, nobody has time for this, so we'll just... I feel like this hair look is 100% Vidal Sassoon in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna go for. It's like, oh, it could be a mullet, but actually, it's fashion. Also, Hue fucking Ray for dark hair. That doesn't force me to do 300 highlights. Let's go for the earrings. Come on, it's 100% Vidal Sassoon. Like, oh, I'll show it to you later, but that's 100% Vidal Sassoon. Yeah. I will need to clean up the... Oh no! I put oil paint on my iPad. Shh, don't tell anyone. I will need to do something with the background later. But what I think I'm gonna do is could I have cleaned that brush properly? Yes. Did I? No. I think I'm gonna give her like a red background. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be there, was it? Oops. Well, you know me. I don't claim to be perfect by any means. And we may need a little bit more darkness here. Okay, that works. Actually, no, I want a little bit more darkness. Where do I want it? Here. Oh, yes. Ah, good. So, sorry for the interruption. As I was saying, let's pray that this goes away. It should. Always gold. When in doubt, cover it with gold. It will all be fine. Well, some of it didn't go as it should, so. Same here. Just a little bit of cleanup, you know. And now, so now, we are just going to layer the different yellows here, just for a little bit of like, you know, added interest. Yeah, I think that's done. Oh God. Let us show you this lady. It's only taken me almost 2 fucking hours. Thank you for sticking around. I'll keep the stream going as I paint the background just for kicks. But here she is. If I can show you. That's the face. There she is. Yay! I'm alive. So yeah, if you want to leave now, please feel free to leave. I'm gonna paint the background carmine, I think, which is like a nice deep red. And then we're gonna go get us that Booper's outfit. Oh, well, I hope you enjoy your breakfast, and I'm really happy that you've enjoyed it so far, Pam. Get a nice breakfast in. I'll be posting the finished picture on Instagram later, so do not fret, you won't be missing out. Oh, speaking of breakfast, I do miss eggs and sausage for breakfast. Let's give her a nice contour to the face. I just need to double check what her face actually looks like. Okay, yeah. that is a wrap. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. You seem to have enjoyed it, so I won't say sorry for the 2 hours that we've spent here together this lovely Saturday morning. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, don't do anything silly. Have a lovely and nice breakfast if you haven't yet. Stay hydrated, eat your fruit and vegetables, I don't know. Keep on painting, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Hope you have a lovely week in the meantime.